Hello, my kosher friends. Welcome back. Today, we are going to be doing my version of Chinese tomato and eggs. So we've got some tomatoes chopped up. I'm going to be showing you how I slice them in a second. That is ginger. We used a piece probably about half the size of this, chopped it up like that. I scrub the outside. I do not peel it. We've got some scallions cut two ways. We've got the little ones we're going to be cooking. We've got the longer, sexy cuts for putting on top for garnish. I'll be showing you those in a second. We've got some white pepper, salt, some gluten-free tamari, some ketchup. We'll explain that in a minute. This is palm coconut sugar. You can use any sugar. This is the sugar we have in the house. It's going into the tomatoes. This is cornstarch. This is about an equal amount of water. We have about a half tablespoon of cornstarch here and roughly the same amount of water. We're going to make a slurry, and that's where we're starting. And then we've got 4 eggs back there. On the side, we have already made some garlic rice in the rice cooker. That's for what we did is 1 cup of rice, 2 cloves of garlic, and just let it cook normally. And we're going to let that slurry sit. And then we've got 4 eggs. Now the eggs, every recipe I've seen. Now I looked up a bunch of recipes. I was really interested in this dish. I've taken inspiration from Pai Lin at Hot Thai Kitchen, from Made with Lao, from Asian at Home, which is with, I'm going to say her name badly and I apologize, Seong Young Longest. And I've looked at a few others. Those are the major influences here. So I'm starting from where they go. Everybody says, eat the eggs with your chopsticks. And it actually does a really nice job. Now, when you make this dish, when you look these up, if you go back to these original content creators, you're going to see a couple of ways of doing it. You're going to see my towel fall into the shot. Sometimes people will do just wedges of tomato. Pai Lin does the quarters, which is where I went with it. You're going to see people do the eggs first. You're going to see people do the tomatoes first. I'm going to do the tomatoes first and then incorporate the eggs. That way I think we're going to get a little bit better result. So very quickly, we're going to show you how we do the scallion. So for the portion that's going to go right into the wok, simple chop. And you want to get all the way up through the light green part, and that's going to go right into our wok with the tomatoes. For the long cut, it's a bias cut along the length. Get a good angle on this so that you get some length, some skinny pieces that are just going to look really, really nice on your plate. And there we go. The tomatoes, super simple. We're going to cut, now these are Roma tomatoes, not Romas, excuse me, these are Campari tomatoes. And I had 8 of them here because they are absolutely tiny. And simple, don't let it roll away from you. Put it down like that. I had one that was a little bigger. I had to give it 2 cross cuts versus just 1. But that's it, easy peasy. Now, I'm gonna grab the phone from Becca, who's gonna run around, and we're gonna be showing you how we use this in the wok. So, to start with, we are gonna go in with some high temp oil. I'm using a sunflower oil. I've had the pan heating up. We're gonna use this, we're gonna dump this oil. This is not what we're cooking with. This is just to get it seasoned to start. So we get all that smoke on there. That's what this bowl is for with that towel, so I don't burn myself as I go. Get that coated all over, give it another second on the heat, and then we're gonna dump that right out. And then we're gonna get a fresh batch of oil in there for cooking. Yeah. Also wipe the edge. Now we have an electric burner, does not mean that the oil can't start a fire. It will. And then get our oil back in again, just a bit to start with. We're going to use a lot more when we throw in the eggs. That's going to help keep them from sticking. And the first thing in is going to be our scallions. And we're going to let those go just a moment until they get nice and fragrant. And that is fragrant. Next thing I put in is the ginger. And again, this was a mixed thing. Some of the folks I saw used it, some didn't. I love the concept. That's about all that needs. And now right in with the tomatoes. Get all that juice off the board. And we're going to let that do its thing for a minute. I'm going to turn that heat up just a little bit. I was keeping it a little lower before because I was working with an empty wok. We're going to be giving this a few tosses while it's going. Good couple of pinches of salt. Salt is going to help bring out the natural glutamates in the tomatoes. It's going to give us that umami. And we're going to go in a moment with a little bit of sugar. Stand back just a little so I can do a toss. Okay. And again, I'm going to let that go for just a moment. Better with tossing it than I am with my spatula. So again, we're going to let that go again. Probably afford to turn it up even a little more. So what we're looking for is these tomatoes to start to break down, but not completely break down. Yeah, get some sugar in there. Now these are really juicy tomatoes, which is part of why we are going to need this cornstarch slurry we did. So we're doing just a little bit of the sugar. Another toss, just to get that incorporated through. Let this do its thing for a minute. Getting the soy sauce standing by. I want this temp to come up really high here. Let me bump it one more time. Now this is a carbon steel wok. I seasoned it myself. Got that blue on it because we took time to get all sorts of heat all over the place, really high heat to change the color of the steel. Had I realized what a bear it was to do with an electric burner, I would have got one that had it done already. So that's your next shopping advice. If you've got electric burners, buy a pre-seasoned wok, buy a non-stick wok. You can't go as high temp on a non-stick one. But starting from carbon steel, unless you've got a torch you can use, don't do it. Now we're going to add in our soy sauce. When you ever add your soy sauce, now this is an ounce of soy. So again, well, tamari, gluten-free tamari. You want to come in around the edges of the wok. You don't want to pour too fast because you don't want it to come in and burn everything. It's going to come down, start to heat up before it hits everything else a little bit. And this is super wet, so we're just going to do this. Oh, the aroma coming off here.
It smells good.
And this is a little bit of a surprise ingredient to me. I've seen everybody but one person use this. Ketchup. The first video I saw where they were doing it was cooking with lao, or made with lao, excuse me. And in discussing the dish, his wife was talking about how she had had this tomato dish for many, many years before she was with him. And then the first time she had it with him using the ketchup in it, it changed her whole perspective on the dish and made her really love it. So it's going in. And got to stand back a hair, going for a toss again. Okay, now we are going to get our slurry in here because we want this to thicken up nicely. Our silver bowl in the back there is where we're going to park it in a second, and we're going to give a quick wipe out to the wok. Now, normally I would not put tomatoes into a wok. Again, this is watching a lot of people doing this. There's some yes, some no. Some people prefer to go with the non-stick pans for this because of the eggs. But part of why you wouldn't want to put anything acidic into your wok is because you're going to burn off or eat off some of that seasoning you did. So the same thing, you don't want to put anything acidic into cast iron. But I'm willing to reseason. So we're going to let this go for just a moment here. Get a nice high bubble. Ooh, that's thickening up nicely. Let's keep that just got 30 more seconds. And we're going to move it off to the side. Wipe out the wok. And then we're going to go in with some more oil. And actually, it's going to look like a stupid amount of oil and our eggs. Let's get this over to here. Part of why I keep this bowl next to the burner is so that it is nice and warm and we don't drop too much temp off of the tomatoes as we come off. So I'm going to, oh my goodness, I can eat this all right now. Okay, so we can park that there. We are going to come in with very just clean paper towel. Part of why we need to wipe this out is because of the sugars that are in there. because they will make burntness. Better way to say it, it'll give a char that you don't want. So we're going to give this just a quick wipe out here. Put that in the garbage later. I need one more paper towel. And for those of you playing along at home, if you're watching for the first time, we don't script this. I have a general idea what we're going to do. I've got the recipe, I've done the research, and then we just kind of go for it. So everything is live, and we haven't learned how to edit yet. We'll probably do that as we get better at what we're doing. So, and I can see where there's some still on there. Now let's get some oil in there. And it looks like a stupid amount of oil, but the reason that is there is it's going to do what we need it to do in terms of cooking these eggs. You can see where I'm going to have to reseason this pan already. I did not wipe out enough of the tomato at first. Get just a little more beat in here. So letting that pan heat up a hair more. What I'm looking for is a shimmer on the oil, and I can see where I've got stuff on the pan that's actually just cooking. We're going to go right in. Okay. And this needs a light. Okay. So we're just going to push it around a little bit. Little folding, little folding, little folding. And then before they're set, this last part is just going to take a moment. This is why we get oil all the way at the edge of the pan, because I do stupid stuff like that. And we're trying not to break it up too much right now. We're going to let it set for half a second. I'm going to do a little flippy flip. Watch out, Becca. Flippy flip. And we're going to just cut it up a little bit, and we're going to get our tomatoes in here. I think they did cook down more than I wanted. That's entirely on me. Break up the edges just a hair. And we do with the eggs just a hair soft still because we really want to get these things to mesh together. We want kind of an incorporation that you don't get otherwise. I'm liking where we're at. I've already turned off the heat. And we're going to come over here. Let that do its thing for just a second. I'm going to go ahead and plate some rice on the dish. We're going to let that just do a little bit of a rest right there. So again, we have our rice cooker. We got some garlic cloves diced up in there. Oh, the aroma coming off here is amazing. Now normally you just use plain white rice here. I just wanted something with a little different. And I'm also going to give it a little drizzle of toasted sesame oil. Put it right into the cap and then out. Literally a drizzle. And then I've got some toasted sesame seeds here. A little sprinkle. A little sprinkle all over the place. Now we're going to come back here. We're going to plate. And so those 4 eggs that we used, which is plenty for 2. We're just going to do 1 plate for y'all to see right now. Oh. Look at those sexy scallions. And I thank Uncle Roger and Auntie Esther for that one. And we have, not the most beautiful plating, but we have our eggs, tomato, garlic rice. I'm going to get a little taste in here. I'm using a spoon because I want to get every last bit of goodness. We're going to combine the 2 things. Okra gravy. Holy heck. I'm going to take this and hand it to my wife because, wow. So that is a simple dish, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. We'll be getting some more dishes out to you soon, and hope you enjoyed this one. If you like this, like and subscribe, leave me comments with questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.